Yes, I'm well equipped.
Alright,
We have
I'll
only
drive.
ever lost 3 people on this trip, so it's a pretty good record.
Oh my god!
It can be very bumpy, but we're very well equipped. I have a lovely, brand new first aid kit.
Ah!
Unfortunately, this place is not really equipped with roads. But we will be fine. I'm very well experienced.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Journey Across Bolivia. My name is Yeti Mindtricks, and in this series we are going to visit various places in Bolivia, from the snowy mountains to the salt plains of Coani, over to the deepest jungles of Caimanes, and even the mining region of Villa Verde. We will meet with locals, travelers, and maybe even ghosts. Yes, you heard it right, ghosts. I'm very excited to start this journey because I always thought about doing a trip through Bolivia ever since my very first Ghostcast episode with fellow Ghost War player Cole Gray, aka THS My Ninja. Back then it was just a road trip where we drove around in a armored vehicle and talked about guns, aim assist, and life. Yes, it was that profound. We talked about life. This time I would like to shift gears and try to find out more about the locations, the people, and their background stories. I've been around in Bolivia for a while, but to be honest, I've went always to the same places and I did always the same old. I never stepped aside from already beaten paths, and I realized almost too late that I missed out on so many things. So I hope you guys will follow me around on this journey and enjoy what surprises Bolivia in Ghost Recon Wildlands has to offer. And who knows, maybe we will meet each other one day and you can show me your special place in Bolivia. And I mean, your special place. Our journey will start at the San Martin Mountain Hut in the southwest area, where I'll meet my first tour guide, Geraldo. My travel agent Karen Bowman arranged my transfer back to Bolivia via private plane to drop me off at a town called Julpe Alto. Damn, I messed up that pronunciation. I mean, I trust Miss Bowman if that was even her real name, but I wasn't so sure about her choice of pilot named Bear. It somehow reminded me of the 90s TV show Tailspin and its lead character Baloo von Brunwald the 13th. And the flight was as rocky as the TV show.
I'm not.
And you know what? I don't even have to be in the plane. I can just make it. Uh-oh.
We're coming in from. Ah! There you go.
What was that?
Enjoy your flight.
Oh man.
The weather was pretty rough today, so we lost a wing. I can get Dave to fix that.
And indeed, Bear tried his best to get this ominous Dave to the runway with no success. And when you think it can't get worse, Miss Bowman sent me a message that my tour guide won't make it in time and will meet me the next day. His appearance got delayed by heavy cartel activities, which is unfortunately a common thing in this region. For years now, the cartels have a tight grip on the country. A weak economy and inflation goes together like a double helix of despair. And if the people are desperate enough, they will grasp onto everything and anything that gives them at least a glimpse of hope in times of need. and Santa Blanca is what shines like a beacon for the lost and hopeless here. Santa Blanca is the name of the most powerful and notorious drug cartel in Bolivia these days. You can see the notorious SB graffiti marking their territory all over Bolivia. But their business isn't only limited to drugs. They also branched out to illegal arms dealings, human trafficking, politics, and even religion with their own twisted version of Christianity and Santa Muerte as their protecting angel. A lot of farmers resort to drug smuggling through the mountains disguised as goat herders to transport their goods across the border. They even dedicated a whole music genre to this life called narco corridos.
Qué bueno que se hizo noche para empezar la loquera. Vayan trayendo los botes, agarra la borrachera. También tráiganse unas tontas para gozarlas ya de veras. Que no falte el aditivo, saben que soy cocaína.
With the bad news from Karen, she left me with no other choice but to stay in this village for the night and hope Dave sobered up by the next morning to finally start my trip at the San Martin Mountain Hut. But before I can rest in one of the many rentable huts and recover from the rather traumatic touchdown, I encountered a very strange fella from England.
Pigs. Big pigs. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Chase the pigs. Dun, 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 dun. Let's play Chase the Pigs. You gotta get a big black because it's the only one that you can. Oh no, there's two of them. Well, there's only one. There's two. Ready? The
Go.
life of a pig wrestler. Yeah!
Yeah, you need to wrestle those pigs, don't headbutt them.
If only I had
Get
a
him! Get him!
combat roll. You will eat on this tour. This is your breakfast. Oh, we want breakfast. Oh.
I want bacon!
Okay, we'll go to the local restaurant.
While we are heading to the local restaurant, this gentleman told me about the Olímpico Internacional de Captura de Cerdo Engrasado, or the International Olympics in greased pig catching, in which this gentleman will represent the Queen and his country. It is a type of game sometimes played at agricultural shows such as state and country fairs, in which contestants, usually children or young adults, try to grab a slippery pig. In the most common version of this game, a team of 4 members chases a domestic pig around a fenced-off mud pit and attempts to place it in a barrel in a race against the clock. He also showed me a chicken variation of the game and pointed out a spot outside of Holpe Alto where the amateurs practice it with llamas first. He said it's easier to grab them when they are furry. Words of wisdom. Honestly, I don't dare to test my luck twice a day. I already almost died and I don't want to get spit on either. After we said our goodbyes, I headed out to my hut to finally get some rest. Unfortunately, I forgot to ask for his name, but I have the strange feeling this wasn't our last time seeing him. And with that, I will end this with a beautiful sunset view across the lake. Good night. While having marraketas accompanied with meat and cheese for breakfast, Bear called me that morning to tell me he's on his way to the runway to fly me to the mountaintop. I was looking forward to it with a mix of excitement and fear for a fiery death. Alright. Alright, and let's go to the runway. and see if my helicopter pilot named Bear is already there. There was a rhyme. I'm a rapper. So early in the morning, even the llamas are still sleeping, except for this one. This is an early jogger. Oh, boy. Now they are aggravated. Sorry. Good morning. Huh. No sign of Bear. While I was waiting for my lift, I've heard gunshots and explosions, and I assume Santa Blanca and Unidad troops having a skirmish this early morning. I even saw a gunship circling around the checkpoint near Julpa Alto. I was getting nervous by the minute, and I never could imagine that I would feel some sort of relief when Bear finally showed up.
Hello!
Oh shit.
Okay, but we've got to be quick. There's a storm front coming.
Alright. I hope we don't go by plane
Got
there.
it. I'll drive.
Oh
We've got
boy.
this plane.
Really? I thought we were flying with the helicopter.
You can take a helicopter if you would like.
Yeah. Yes, please.
Your secretary told me that you would like to view the skies by the plane, but you can take a helicopter.
I can't imagine that there's a runway up there in the mountains.
Just over here is the helicopter.
Alright. Take me to
I got this. I'll
San
pilot.
Martin Mountain Hut.
Okay, let me program the coordinates into the computer.
On our flight to the mountain hut, Bear did a flyby at a shutdown cable car station, which we will visit later on in this journey as well. The flight was surprisingly smooth this time, and Bear told me a local rumor.
Now there are rumours of a Yeti being frequently seen in these parts. I mean, I've never seen it, but
A Yeti
Who
in
knows?
Bolivia?
well, there's local papers have reported on it. But no concrete evidence, just sightings.
And when I thought I can finally meet Geraldo and start my trip, we got caught in a fight between the earlier mentioned Santa Blanca and Unidad. I realized I praised the day too early. When it rains, it pours, I guess.
Don't worry about Unidad, they're perfectly happy to fight with the local Santa Blancans.
Oh my god! The guys over there, they're shooting at the other chopper.
Yeah.
That's the point I have
Unfortunately, it's a regular thing here. As you can see,
Shitballs.
Oh no! The mountain hut over there is the place where I was supposed to meet my tour guide. Oh my god! I mean, people
guide.
warned me about Bolivia.
okay. Well, give me a
but This
second.
is a
You
bit
wait here.
extreme.
You wait here, and I'll go and see if I can find the tour guide.
Alright.
I can talk these guys down. Give me a second.
And while I was waiting like the brave person everyone knows me to be, Bear ran over to negotiate with the cartel people and find the person who manages the hut. Oh boy, I don't know if he's dead or if he found the tour guide.
Hello!
Huh?
Hello!
Oh wow.
I understand you're here to see San Martin Mountain Hut. A nice cozy place here. You get to see all of Bolivia from this overlook.
It
And this
seems
hut-
cozy enough for a couple of well-armed people around here. That was exciting.
Don't worry, I'll get this mess cleaned up in a second. So here you got your food and water.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can keep your weapons in this case here while you sleep. And don't worry about those guys. They don't come here often, but when they do, they get taken away by Unidad.
Alright. Sounds a bit sketchy. To say
Everything
the
about
least.
this country is sketchy, but there are nice tourist places where they don't visit you. Obviously, this is not one of them. You have your own vehicle if you wish to travel out. Just be careful of the wildlife. And here is Manuel here. He can bring you drinks from his little hut. 2 gin and tonics, please, and the lager. Well, let me. I'll let you get your stuff together, and I'll call over your tour guide that will take you there. I'll
Alright.
come back in a second. Geraldo! Geraldo!
What?
Geraldo! Hello, senor.
Hello.
Let's go.
You're my guide down the mountain?
Yes. I'm well equipped.
All right.
We have only ever lost 3 people on this trip, so it's a pretty good record.
That sounds assuring. Oh my god!
It can be very bumpy, but we're very well equipped. I have a lovely brand new first aid kit.
Ah!
Unfortunately, this place is not really equipped with roads. But we will be fine. I'm very well experienced. They don't call me Geraldo the Creep for nothing. This may get a little bumpy, but don't worry about it.
Oh! Ow!
It's all part of the experience.
We made way to our first stop at a small shanty town named Nuevo Mundo, the New Moon. This town acts as a temporary refugee camp and last stop before crossing the border to Peru or Argentina. It's a rough environment with little to zero ways to grow crops. The refugees' only way to survive is eating the food packages they took with them and by hunting the local wildlife like rabbits and llamas who got lost in the mountains. Geraldo also has a very interesting urban legend to tell about the often cited Yeti, and even a crash-landed plane full with Brazilian royalty ending up here in Nuevo Mundo over 30 years ago. So Geraldo, what can you tell me about the shanty town here? Why are the refugees gathering so high up in the snowy mountain region instead of the lower grounds?
Okay, so the cartels don't tend to come out in these parts because of the wildlife. Actually, the cartel are actually scared of the legend of the Yeti, so they don't tend to come out this far. As you can see, these places are very well made, but untouched. No bullet holes, as you can see. These places are really well made. I mean, these airplanes here, as you can see, have been here for 30 years.
30
one's ever
years,
touched
up
it.
here in
They
the
don't come
mountains.
out here very often. Yeah, they don't come out. But they tend to like them, the refugees, so they clean them up. They keep them well cleaned, preserved, just to show historical events. This one here, the first one,
Mhm.
was first recorded in 1987, and it was a plane crash that made the news because it was royalty from a Brazilian family that came to visit, and no one knows exactly why they were here, but they were here. Some say possibly for drugs, but we don't like to think of ourselves as peddling drugs to Brazilian royalty. But apparently we do get some people visiting these places from time to time, and that was their airplane, so it's preserved, and the refugees here clean them up.
Alright, I wouldn't even dare to suspect Brazilian royalty to be fond to disco sugar.
Well, I must say, I've studied in many countries, but Brazil is not one of them. So I'm not an expert on Brazilian royalty, but I'm an expert on this country, and I don't think that we would be selling drugs to any country's royalty. We like to think of ourselves as a clean country. With the cartels, on the other hand, I mean, they don't travel to these parts, so I like to think that the civilians are very nice people.
I didn't want to argue with Geraldo's reasoning on why Brazilian millionaires came to Bolivia and crash landed at the very southwestern border out of all places, but the legend of the Yeti caught my interest. Cartel people seem to avoid this region and only came here when it was really necessary. The International Red Cross seems to know about the legend, and thanks to the Yeti, they fly safely over the border and support the people with medical supplies and food. Unfortunately, they can't fly further inland due to the hostile activities and the risk of getting shot down by anti-aircraft missiles stationed in the mountains. The refugees of the drug war tend to stay inside these makeshift houses when they see people around and they don't have the insignia of the Red Cross on them. We spoke only to a few people, and to respect their privacy I decided not to show the footage because some of them still have friends and family in the valleys working on farms and trade routes. Geraldo said it's time to move on now, and we headed north towards an old Inca site. On our way through the serpentines of Mount Nevado Lamiro, my tour guide warned me about getting too close to the Inca ruins and offered to show me a part of the old Inca road system instead. I sadly had to accept it, but the view and the opportunity to tread on the very same roads as the old Incas was breathtaking nonetheless. Right now I'm standing on the remnants of an old Inca road system, or at least a part of it, also known as Chapacnan, which means Royal Road in Quechua. It was the most extensive and advanced transportation system in pre-Columbian South America. It was at least 40,000 kilometers long, which is translated to roughly 25,000 miles. The roads were bordered at intervals with buildings to allow the most effective usage. At short distance there were relay stations for chasquis, the running messengers, and with this technique or system, it was a pretty fast way to send over one message from point A to point B by passing over the message to another carrier, like a baton in the Olympics. The network was composed of formal roads carefully planned, engineered and maintained, paved where it was necessary, stairways to gain elevation, bridges and even accessory constructions such as retaining walls and a water drainage system. It can be compared with the road network of the Roman Empire, although the Inca road system was built 1,000 years later. The road system allowed for the quick transfer of information and goods even without the use of the wheel, which the Incas hadn't discovered at the time. The Inca Empire was roughly 2 million square kilometers or 770 square miles large and inhabited over 12 million people supported by the well-maintained road system. At the end of this branch of the Inca Road, on top of the mountain awaits us a old Inca ruin site. Unfortunately, I wouldn't dare to step closer because these days cartel members and or Unidad soldiers are occupying those historical sites, and I don't want to die due to lead poisoning for now. After visiting a small part of the Inca Road, Geraldo and I decided it was time to head out for my last destination of the day, a shut-down cable car station. We saw this facility earlier this day on our flight towards the mountain hut. The cable car station was built in 1980 and was supposed to jumpstart a new age of tourism and the promise of another income opportunity for the country. But as always, not everything a committee planned out doesn't mean it works like a Swiss watch. Bolivia pursued for decades the typical Latin American fiscal policy of covering government budget deficits by printing money. The result of that policy was a hyperinflation in 1983 to 1985 that increased the prices about 23,000%. And with that, the government had not enough money to fund their tourism program, and foreign investors also stayed away due to the uprising of the cartels. After our arrival, Geraldo showed me around and we set up shop for the night. If I would have known what awaits me the next day, I would have snuck out and tried to get off the mountain by foot. No, the sunrise, nice. We got up early with the sunrise and Geraldo instructed me on the ins and outs of base jumping. I still was dazed and numb from the good night tea with a little bit of disco sugar, for the altitude of course, so my state of mind was very susceptible to the suggestion to jump off the cliff and fly back to Holpe Alto. Alright, then I guess I have to parachute down there, back to the point where I started. At Julpe Alto, maybe, parachuting towards the rising sun. Let's go. I'm nervous.
Ready?
Yup. Oh my god, I pulled too early.
All right, Sky God, time to open.
Look at this. And with this, my journey ends for now. Thanks for coming along with me on my journey across Bolivia. This was only the beginning of an ongoing video project, and in the next few weeks you can expect a lot more to come. This was just an idea I had in my mind for over 3 years now, but to start and filming it was a spontaneous impulse I couldn't resist anymore. This time I was accompanied by my good friend Plume Serpent, who took over the various roles with more or less questionable attempts to get into character. But who cares, as long as we had fun on our trip, right? You will find his channel link in the description down below, and if you don't mind, subscribe to his channel. He produces various Ghost Recon Wildlands content and is one of my most trusted and go-to scout players when I play Ghost War PvP. Anyway, thanks for watching, and if you liked this video, drop a like. If you haven't, please subscribe to my channel and leave a comment down in the comment section. Also, feel free to suggest whatever you would like to see in the next videos, and if you like to join me on this trip, add me on PSN Yeti Mind Tricks with the message Journey Across Bolivia. now I'm out, and we will see us in the next video. Bye, bitches!
I got another tango. Your target.
Wow, I landed exactly there where my journey started. Awesome. In the most common version of this game, a team of 4 members chases a domestic pig around a fenced-off mud pit and attempts to place it in a barrel in a race against the clock. The empire was roughly 2 million square kilometers, 2 billion football stadiums. Drainage system, water drainage system. I still was dazed and numb from the good night tea and a little disco sugar for the altitude, of course. My state of mind was very susceptible to suggestions. Baldo also has a very interesting urban legend to tell about the often cited Yeti and even crash-landed. Baldo has a very interesting urban legend to tell about the often cited Yeti and even a crash-landed plane full of Brazilian royalty. The cable car station was built in the 1980s and was The cable car station was built in the 1980s and was supposed to jumpstart a new age of tourism. Jumpstart a new age of tourism.